First, go to the TimelineClick GitHub page. You'll see it in the description. First thing you'll notice is that there's some requirements. You have to have AutoHotkey v1.1 installed. So if you go to that site, you'll see here you can download v1.1. This script does not work with v2.0 or 1.0, so you need 1.1. You can either download the entire code base, which includes example scripts, or you can download just the TimelineClick function to include in your own scripts. So first, just to show you some of the example scripts, I'll download the code base. So if you download it as a zip and extract it, look inside, see that there's these two AutoHotkey scripts. And we'll look at these in a text editor. I'm going to be using VS Code with this, and I like to use VS Code with the autohotkey++ extension. This just gives it IntelliSense and code highlighting and all that fancy stuff. So if you open up the TimelineClick demo script, you can just go over the basic format of this. So these first lines here are more just for performance. Line 8 here is to include the TimelineClick file. So you can see here's a script directory, the library folder, and then inside the library folder is TimelineClick.ahk. So then you can use the function after that. This first block is to set up the TimelineClick function for After Effects. So I just get the executable name from the application, put it there, and then I have the function set to W. You can change this to whatever you want, and there's more information on how to declare hotkeys at this link. Now in the TimelineClick function, you see that there's two parameters. First is the image to search the screen for, and the next is the Y offset in pixels. And then the hotkey declaration is ended with a return. So you can just use this example script and understand how to use it from here. But we're going to set up this function from scratch. Back at the TimelineClick page, I'm going to download just the TimelineClick function itself. So if I download that, we see it just downloaded TimelineClick.ahk. Open that up. We'll see we have it here. And on the desktop, I'm going to create a new folder. And it's going to be my ahk script. And in this folder, I'm going to put the TimelineClick function. And I'm going to create a new script. The script is going to be called my main script. So let's open up my main script.ahk. It'll probably give you some boilerplate code, but let's first include the TimelineClick function. And I'm actually going to move the TimelineClick function to a library folder. So I'm going to create a lib folder and then put it in there. Now in my main script, I'm going to add include a script directory, which is AutoHotkey's way of getting the directory for this script, /lib /timeline-click.ahk. So now with that included, we can now use the function. So for this example, I'm going to set this function up with DaVinci Resolve. So first we're going to use the if/when/active directive, and then we need to put in the executable here. In order to get that, you need to open up Windows Spy. So you can just type the Windows key, press the Windows key, search for Windows Spy, and open it up. And when you find it and have it open, go over to Resolve. And when you have Resolve active, you'll see that the Windows Spy gives you an executable, and it's ahk.exe resolve.exe. So copy that, and then we'll go back to our script and put that in there. Go to the next line, create a new curly brace block, and then we'll add our hotkey. So I'm going to do Shift W, and Shift in AutoHotkey is plus, and then W is W. And then we'll add the TimelineClick function. We'll come back and add the parameters, and then end it with a return. So the first parameter is the image, but we haven't gotten an image yet. So we have to go back to Resolve. Actually, first let's create a folder for our images. So just do images. And then in Resolve, we have to find an image that moves vertically with the timeline bar. So whenever the window resizes, we can see that most of this area here actually moves with this timeline bar. So we also need to pick an image that doesn't change. So whenever I select different tools, like these icons all change, so those won't work. However, this icon over here only changes when you hover over it and have it clicked. So it's really only going to look like that whenever you're actively using it. So this is a good candidate right here. So to get that image, is just Windows Shift S and get that image. And then you'll see a notification pop up in the bottom right. You can just open it up in the snipping tool when you click on that. And then you can save it. And we're going to actually save it to our images folder. And I'll call it edit page resolve edit page 150%, because the display scaling of this screen right now is 150%. And display scaling affects UI, so that matters. So now I'm going to put in the file path to that image. I'm going to copy its name. And you can put in local file paths for this. So this is going to be images / the file, and then comma for the next parameter. So the next parameter is the Y offset between the top left corner of the image and the clickable region of the timeline bar. So to figure out this offset, we could just guess and check. I'm just going to take another screenshot and then use this image to get the pixel distance. So I'm going to put that screenshot on my desktop. And when I look at the image, I see that the dimensions are 568 by 87. 87 is the Y distance, so I'm going to use that 87. So going back to here, I'm going to put in 87. I'm going to save that, and then let's test it out. If I run it, you'll see it'll appear in the bottom right system tray. You can close it from there. So if I press Shift-W, you can see that it's working. It found the image, it moved the mouse up, and it clicks on the timeline bar. And if you hold the button down, it continues to hold it. And once you let go, it stops moving it. Now that you have that working, in the case of DaVinci Resolve, there are multiple timelines. There's different pages, and they have different timelines, so it doesn't always work. So if you look at the Fairlight page, you'll see that it has a similar icon, but it's not working. Let's grab this icon here. So I'm going to take another image, do that, open it up, save it to our images folder. And this is going to be Resolve Fairlight 150%. And let's just assume that the offset is going to be the same, because I think it will be. Now, in order to check for more than one image, you have to put in arrays of values for the parameters. So in order to make this an array, you use a square bracket. So then I put in square brackets, put in a comma, and now I'm going to add my next image. Images, / what was it called? Resolve Fairlight 7. And then same applies to the Y offset values. And if you add another image, you're going to have a third value in each of these arrays. So now that we have that, I'm going to close that script from the system tray, and then I'm going to run it again. So now let's try it in the Fairlight page. And we see that it's working. That's pretty nifty. And then I'm going to go back to the edit page, and that also works. Now I'm going to talk about the optional third parameter. From this point, it's totally usable, but in case you care about this, if you just add the third parameter in this function, I'll just show it, is this hold value, and its default is true. So if you put in false for this, I'm going to show you how it acts now. instead of being able to drag the playhead, the function just brings the cursor to the mouse position and then ends, and then that's the end of the function. So if you keep the button held down, it's not going to continue holding down the mouse click. So yeah, keep in mind, if an application updates and uses different images for your screen grabs, you're going to have to get new images. If you use a different display scaling, you're also going to have to get new images. If it's too complicated for you, like, post a feature request to your application developers page. I tried to do that and I got impatient, so I just made it. And a lot of other people have also made a very similar AutoHotkey functions, but mine has a lot of optimizations in it that make it a bit faster than the simpler approaches to this. Bye.